Hi, this is Rainbow Harmony, here to help you find balance and peace to live a more colorful life. And this is a reading for someone who opted in for my 11/11 special, because right now I'm offering a reading, any kind of reading that you want. A general reading, a twin flame reading, if you want to know what your life purpose is or what your spiritual gifts are or just what the next step is. I'm honestly open for all questions for anyone who feels guided. And I'm also sharing these readings for free for people who feel led to click on these videos. So if this is your reading and you feel like there's something I say that doesn't resonate, remember to trust yourself and trust your gut and look for signs of resonance. Check and see if you feel any chills when I say something or when I come across a certain card. Check for visions, anything that pops into your head during these readings, because those are also messages. And after this reading, take some time to get grounded and do some self-care and breathe deep and take good care of yourself while you process. And, you can return to this reading anytime you want for some guidance and to remember some of the things that came through. And definitely let me know if anything I say in here ends up happening. And I like to check in and see how accurate my readings are. So far, so good. I've gotten really great results, which is why I'm feeling more confident putting myself out there with these readings. So if anyone else wants a reading, check out my information below. You'll see my email. I accept payments through PayPal. My price is $11.11, and that is a third of what it would normally cost to speak with a psychic. I'm just trying to grow my channel more and get some more experience here. So this is a twin flame reading. Wow, things have been pretty crazy on the twin flame scene. We had that moon in Scorpio a couple days back, and ever since then, there's been a lot of shift. We have a full moon coming up here, and we're in the season of Cancer, which is a water sign, which rules our emotions. So there's a lot going on with relationships right now, and especially in the twin flame dynamic. A lot of twins are getting ready for union. There's a lot of shift happening, and I've had so many people hit me up for twin flame readings, more than I've ever had before. And I personally have been feeling something shifting in my own twin flame dynamic, so you are definitely not alone. Now I just flipped these cards over, and at first glance, there is a lot coming out. So you definitely are not crazy for reaching out and for wanting to have some answers here, because I just feel a lot of energy, and I'm trying to breathe myself to stay grounded, because I really feel I'm able to tap into the emotions of what you're going through and what they're going through, and it's a lot. So excuse me as I take deep breaths and while I ground myself. So you want to know where you're at in your journey, where your twin's at in their journey, and how they feel about you. And I actually added some extra questions in here based off of the information you sent me. I also am asking here what's going on between him and his girlfriend, why there's been no communication, and I also asked for a message from his higher self to you. And I also wanted to know, maybe what the near future is for you guys. And I also pulled some advice from Spirit, so you kind of know like how you can move forward during this time of change for you guys. So this row here is where you're at in your journey. So this card has to do with transformation. In the traditional tarot, it's the Death card. Now, a lot of people are afraid when they see this card because they feel like it means, loss and destruction, which that is kind of part of it, but it's a really beautiful card too, because it really talks about you confronting the mystery of death. I feel like there has been some loss around you, and you've found a way to gracefully flow through it. A lot of people in our society use, food and drugs and sex and alcohol and things like that to stuff down their emotions. But I feel like you're the kind of person who lets yourself cry, and people around you might have been trying to push you past some of this emotional time, but you've let yourself kind of cry and go there, and you've been there for yourself. And so you've gone through this process beautifully, and now you're at the start of a new path. So I do see death in your past, but I feel like you are at a new start. You're having a bit of a spiritual awakening right now, like where you're really looking at your life and starting to think back about some of the choices you've made in the past, and realizing that part of the person that you've become has kind of been to please others. I see a lot of people pleasing in your past, and you're really wondering who you are and what your gifts are and what your purpose is and where you're going, but I feel like you're figuring these things out. This summer season for you really is a time for you to get grounded, and I feel like your finances are getting a little bit better, and like there's an energy of like a move that you recently went through or you're considering. There's definitely a ton of change brewing for you in your life. But overall, I do see in the cards here that you are ready to unite with a twin flame or a soulmate. So there's someone coming into your life, which makes a lot of sense. You went through death and loss and you let go of a lot. So anytime you let go of something, you're making way for the new. And that's what we forget. We always forget that. A lot of times we just react with despair whenever we lose something. And we forget that the old makes way for the new, and that death awakens the cycle for rebirth. So there's a huge rebirth happening right now in your life, and that's just the theme I've been seeing for so many people, rebirth. And I feel like this person who's coming into your life is going to really help you change the direction of your life. Perhaps it's someone you can start a business with, or someone that you'll be able to bounce ideas off of to help give you that confidence and strength to take the next step forward on your journey, because there's some type of, I'm getting chills. Woo, there we go, chills all over me. There's some type of business, I feel like some type of something brewing, something you want to start, some kind of craft you do, something you make, or perhaps some type of service you want to offer, and it's deep inside of you. It has to do with some of the things you like to do as a kid, and also the type of role that you end up playing in your relationships also has a lot to do with your life purpose. So think a lot about, in a positive way, the type of role that you end up playing in your relationships. That type of person might end up being like, you might start a practice or a craft or some type of service based off of that, some type of business. So that's coming through really strong right now. And I feel like this person is kind of the key to that. It's not like you need them, but a lot of times relationships can be the catalyst for our greatest good. And when we're praying and we're dreaming and we're wanting and we're wishing for newness in our life and for growth and development and success, a lot of times the universe or God or whoever your deity is will send the answer to your prayer through another person. So a lot of times that answer is going to come through another person. So I feel like you're being sent someone right now, and that person is a gift. So who that person is, if it's this guy here, I can't say. Maybe the rest of the reading will reveal that. All right, so that's what you're going through in your journey. This row is what your twin's going through in their journey. So your twin is very, very pensive right now. They're kind of watching. I feel like they've gained some inner strength, but I do see a cloud around them, and I feel like they're in a depression. But I feel like they've gained this strength. This pine tree here represents strength, and it's really standing out to me. And it's next to this reading, which has to do with abundance and fertility and facing your fears. So, and this card has to do with being grounded. And so in this pattern, I feel like, your twin is trying to gather strength right now to face their fears. There has been a death in their life, which has also been a rebirth. How interesting that you've had death and rebirth, and this is literally death and rebirth. I mean, literally, right here. So it's very possible this person is your twin or a strong soulmate of yours, because it seems like your lives are really mirroring each other, and you're going to see a lot of mirroring when it comes to people who are in your soul family. So that's definitely confirmed that this is a very important person in your life. So, maybe what you went through, you kind of went through it first, and now your twin's going through it. I have an intuition that that's something I feel like you feel that you just went through this huge period of death in your life, and now you're having kind of a rebirth, and now you intuitively feel that your twin is going through it, and that is correct. They are going through a period very similar to what you just went through and experiencing almost the same thing. but they're on the other side like you. See, this means exactly this. Like this card and these 3 cards together literally mean the same thing. So, and this literally mean the same thing. So your cards here are completely mirroring each other. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen this in a love or twin flame reading yet. I've seen like a little bit of mirroring, enough to confirm, but your readings are identical. Like you guys are going through the same thing right now, just in different ways. The only difference here is that I feel like he's more hesitant and he's more stuck in his depression, because I feel like there's a blockage, like he's having a hard time allowing himself to really like mourn and like really cry and like really like release and like let stuff go. And you know, typically in our society, men have trouble with that because they're discouraged from being in touch with their emotions. So he is having a little bit of trouble being in touch with his emotions, but he's getting there. And I feel like the presence of an awakening happening in his life. So I feel a lot of angels and spirit guides around him, helping him through this time. But this is a very intense time for you guys. Like, can you feel my intense energy? Like, I'm picking up on it right now. There's a lot happening between you guys. And a lot happening in your spiritual growth right now. All I can really say for both of you guys is death and rebirth. Let's see what's going on now for, let's see how he feels about you now, okay? So this row here is how he feels about you. So I feel like this person definitely wants to be with you. I mean, I'm seeing the bold card here. I feel like they really desire you. They feel like you guys have a very strong connection. He feels very sexually attracted to you. I feel like there's a message coming through that he feels, this is really blunt, but I feel like this person feels like you'd be the best he'd ever had, or you're the best he ever had, and that this person kind of puts you on a pedestal in that way, and they're really missing that connection between you guys. And you make them feel at peace, and I feel like there's this grass is greener kind of thing with them. Like it's kind of like they want you because they can't have you. That's not like the only reason they want you, but part of them being away from you is making them realize how much they want to be with you. I feel like he's thinking of some type of creative way to get back in touch with you. He's very dedicated to his feelings about you, and it really makes me wonder why it is that you guys parted ways. But in the twin flame journey, you can never really know. Sometimes it's because one person has to go off and learn certain lessons, and sometimes when you're together and you're so codependent, you can stunt each other's growth. And so I feel like in the past, perhaps you guys were very codependent with each other because this dynamic is just so intense between you guys that you guys just get sucked in when you're together, and it's hard to focus on anything else. And so I feel like the separation was because you had to go, kind of accomplish some things in life with work and career, and it was just too intense for one person. And I feel like it's probably for him because he has a depression going on, but I feel like this is a secret he keeps from people. Only people who know him really, really close know about this dark cloud that surrounds him that he's trying to fight his way through. But there is hope for him. But right now this is all in his head. So in his head, he's very dedicated to how he feels about you. He feels very creative. He wants to think of solutions. And yeah, these two cards together are like, as far as how a guy can feel about you, these are going to be like the best ones to draw from this deck. He likes how bold you are. He really thinks that you're an outgoing person in your nature. And, he likes that side of you. It's like he misses that side of you. Now, you're going to think this is really interesting. Like, I know without a doubt what's going on between him and his girlfriend from these cards. So this is a card I pulled from my personal deck, and I made this deck over the past few years from some situations I've gone through in my personal life that I didn't want to forget. And like, I remind myself by going through the deck sometimes. But if I ever really want to drill down to like, what is the deal with this situation, I can always count on my personal deck. So of course, to figure out what's going on between him and his girlfriend, or possibly his ex-girlfriend, I pulled, from my personal deck, and this card talks, I got it reversed, and it's an emphasis that he's in a karmic relationship, a toxic relationship, actually. And I'm gonna read you this card. It's kind of funny. So this is about what's going on between him and his girlfriend. Sometimes people come into your life as an answer to your prayers and as a blessing. And sometimes they come to teach us important lessons about our personal boundaries and self-respect. It says, do you have a repeated pattern of being fucked over by friends and lovers? Did your birth parents or your caregivers fuck you over? Perhaps this is where you, excuse my language by the way, perhaps this is where you learned it was okay to accept to be treated less than you deserve. It is time to choose yourself first. Delete, block, no contact, move on. You will have to learn how to protect this light and love that you carry. There will be those who I'm getting chills right now. There will be, okay, I feel like this girl's a mooch. There will be those who mooch off it and take advantage of you if you let them. I'm getting chills. Make room for like-minded people who will treat you how you treat others. Sorry, I was having a lot of body sensations when I was reading that, so I don't know if that came out right, but overall, I think it's hilarious that my spirit guides give me chills like right when I read over the word mooch. So this girl, and with this card, is a mooch. She's really draining this guy financially and emotionally and spiritually. And coupled with this card, I'm actually gonna say, I can't diagnose people, like for real, I'm not a doctor, but I'm getting a vibe of some type of personality disorder, perhaps in the cluster B spectrum, like a narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder. I don't think this person's bipolar. I'm feeling like they grew up in a toxic family and they just have they don't understand how, compassionate, considerate relationships work. And so she is very manipulative. And I feel like and you feel deep down that this person's manipulating him. And that's why you're worried and you're wondering what's going on. And you're still very energetically connected to this person. And so you feel the shift and the darkness that's surrounding him. And this girl does kind of feed into that side of him, and he feels comfortable with her because he can be depressed and he can be his shadow self around her. He's really sucked into the darkness right now, and so, but he's getting out of it. Like seriously, I feel like this card could be saying that he just broke up with her. If he's still with her, or he's considering it, because it does say delete, block, move on, and I have a feeling like he's either highly considering breaking up with her because of the way he feels about you, Because I have so many cards in my deck. I didn't get anything here that made it seem like, he's just really focused on work. I pull that a lot for guys. I pull when I'm like, how does he feel about her? Sometimes I'll pull cards that say he doesn't really feel anything. He kind of just has tunnel vision on his job and doesn't give a shit. You know what I mean? That's not what it's saying here. It's he's thinking, he's passionate, he's dedicated, something's brewing. So perhaps being with this girl is really making him realize that he had it good, So, this is really sad, but this is just part of the lesson he has to learn. A lot of times karmic relationships open you up to your own self-love, and, you realize that each person in the relationship has to be independent and has to love themselves first and has to live their own life, and no one should be responsible for emotionally regulating another person. And I feel like this girl depends on him to emotionally regulate. So just trust yourself. You might want to distance yourself a little bit. Try doing some healing meditations where you visualize yourself cutting the cord between you and him. It doesn't mean that it's gonna cut off all communication or ruin your chances of you guys ever having union or anything. It's just, it'll help him not feel so drained, because every time that you think about this person, you're tapping into their energy. So if you think about them, don't worry, just send them love and light, and trust them and trust their higher self, because every person has an ego self, an ego personality, and a higher self. And I feel like he's just really sucked down into ego, but he still has his higher self. So he still has those times where he can think straight and he can make his own choices, and he can, just trust in him and trust in his soul path, and know he's going to be okay. I don't want to scare you and think he needs help or anything. I think he's going to be okay, but this is just a lesson he has to learn with this girl. So let's see. Let's go to a message from his higher self to you. So this is a message from, I just kind of explained the whole ego higher self thing. I tapped into his higher self, and this is basically what he would say to you if he was in his right mind and he wasn't so sucked down into his ego, and if he had like the courage, if he was really in his high self, what's coming forward as a message to you. He's saying that there is an opportunity right now for change. Things are so bad between him and his girlfriend that he's really thinking about you and considering you, so there is kind of a window here. But if you're gonna approach him, be really playful. Don't be so heavy. Don't be too emotional, because he's very sensitive right now and he's been manipulated, and so it's gonna come across very triggering if you come at him from any other perspective than being playful right now. But it's saying that the love you guys have shared is eternal, regardless of the situation. And that's a really sweet message. I pull this a lot for twin flames. And I whenever I ask, what is, the message from the higher self, to the divine feminine, it's usually this card. It's so sweet. Like, he knows deep down that the love between you guys goes on. And I just want you to know that this is the way relationships work and life kind of works. Like, if you can imagine the infinity symbol, there's a point in the middle of the symbol where both parts meet. You know what I mean? There's like, it goes like this and it kind of like overlaps. So there's going to be times where you go off on your own, but you're always going to meet your twin in the end, because they are technically the other half of your soul. I mean, you guys are both your own unique individuals, but when you chose to come down here, you guys split. And to learn your own individual lessons, it's a really beautiful thing. And I think that your twin is going to come back to you. I feel this energy like they are. You might have to help out. You might need to reach out. This might be saying that this could be a time to reach out to them. But if you're gonna do it, just be playful. And I guess it sounds kind of silly, but you can always just try and like act like nothing happened and just be playful with it. And he's also saying that I feel like this is a message that when he's sleeping, we all go places and we astral project and we talk to guides and angels, and that's why sometimes you sleep and you wake up and you feel completely different in the morning, and people say, why don't you just sleep on it? Because sometimes in the middle of your sleep you receive healing. So he's receiving some healing, and send him healing light. So you have some options here. You do have options. There's always infinite options and infinite solutions at your fingertips. You should really pray and trust your gut. Ask your guides what is needed here for you to do. It really is your choice and what you feel like doing. So that's the answer is, what do you feel? Don't think about him and like what's gonna upset him and how he's gonna react. Think about how you feel. Like, do you want to reach out? Like, and do you feel playful right now? If not, just wait till a time when you do feel playful and kind of happy and kind of flirty, and just reach out to him and see what happens. Be respectful of the fact that he might be still in a relationship, but there's nothing wrong with trying again and reaching out. And obviously if this person tells you to respect them and leave them alone, then obviously that's probably your worst fear, that they're not going to want to talk to you. They'll ghost you and not write back, or they'll tell you, don't talk to me anymore. I have a girlfriend or something. But worst case scenario, that's it. Like, so what? This person and you, no matter what happens, you guys have a connection, and you have a right to know. You have a right to reach out to them. And I think that things have been so shitty between this guy. Like, maybe he doesn't know that you're still there for him, or maybe the last time that you guys talked, he just wasn't in the right place to receive you in that energy. But if you're nurturing and you're kind and you're playful, it could open him up, Yep. There's a lot of change. He's also just saying, like, he's going through a lot of change right now. He's going through a lot of change. So, just be aware. You're gonna have to trust, you know, his energy can be different from one day to the next. One day he might be really open to receive that playful energy from you, and another day he might be completely closed off to it. So just don't take it personally however he reacts. You're just gonna have to trust yourself, and you know, whenever you need to, just reach out and say something nice, like how have you been, or just something funny, or tag him on a meme or something. Let me see now. Okay, the near future. Okay, the near future between you guys. So this is really interesting. The Three of Wands has to do with travel and taking action. This card, I know it looks awful, but it's actually a pretty positive card when you get it in relationships. It has to do with divine intervention and taking action. And this has to do with creativity and fertility, and it could mean, you know, the twins coming together. Something's brewing. I keep saying that, something's brewing. I just feel like the divine masculine is cooking up some kind of idea here. With the creativity and the dedication card next to this for how he feels about you, it just makes me think there's an idea, there's a plan. So traveling, one of you, you know, you guys might be meeting up, actually, you know, in the 3D. One of you guys might come and visit the other, or it might be as extreme as moving in together. It could be extreme, you know, this card just has to do with something extreme. This has to do with out of the blue, something shocking, intensity, and this card means traveling. So, you know, what does that mean to you? Next, I have overall, what's going on between you guys. So overall, what's going on between you guys? And I drew this card right here. This has to do with competition and ego and battle of will. So it makes me think that, yeah, there's conflict, there's chaos, there's a struggle, there's a lack of cooperation, there's frustration, restlessness, but also like some brainstorming, disagreements, challenges. Those are all words that are coming up right now, and also related to this card. I feel like the conflict has to do with speaking your truth. You guys are having a really hard time getting grounded in speaking your truth. I feel like when there was conversation and there was discussion, that first of all, both of you guys had trouble speaking your truth. Second of all, both of you guys interpreted what was said based off of your own inner turmoil and self-consciousness. So it was basically impossible for you guys to communicate just because of all the inner turmoil. And so I feel like this is also an answer to why there's been no communication. Like you guys are both really afraid of it because of what's happened with your communication in the past. So maybe his higher self is telling you, like, if he felt an energy shift from you and if he felt like things were different, perhaps he could give that a chance. But you might also be able to just send him love and send him light and send him healing and like send him that playful energy and send him every time you're feeling that, just take a breath, close your eyes and just breathe and like imagine yourself sending him some light. That might help him like heal and then come back to you. So there are some ways you can either behind the scenes do some work to help this person, or you can actually physically take some action and do something. It really is pretty open for you to solve this conflict. So you're not wrong in feeling like there's a lot happening between you guys, because there definitely is, but there is a way forward here, just a lot of shift. I mean, you guys are in a huge transition in your personal lives and when it comes to your journey together. So one more card here. This is overall advice from Spirit. And Spirit is saying, allow yourself to receive affection. And this card says, pride is not allowing yourself to receive as much as you need. Don't be too hard on yourself, but realize that your responses to your environment were inherited and they're no longer appropriate for this day and age. So I feel like there's been a lot of psychic attack you've received from the people you grew up around and from society in general. And you really are an independent thinker. and you are really just a beautiful person inside and out. And I feel like, you know, you actually have physical beauty. Like you have a beautiful, you know, hair or face. I feel like you have a beautiful body too. Everyone does, but I feel like you're just especially beautiful. And so because of that, people have discriminated against you, and you're wondering, you're almost very self-conscious of yourself and don't feel as beautiful because you're so beautiful and because you've been discriminated against because of that. You can be discriminated against because of your beauty. I actually work with models. My day job is being a stylist. I'm a fashion stylist, and so I dress fashion models, and I'm around these beautiful, like super tall gazelle girls, like all the time. And a lot of them are very self-conscious. A lot of them have been bullied their entire life because of how beautiful they are. It's a hard life being beautiful. I know this sounds ridiculous, but it's true. Like seriously, some of them have, like the stories they've told me about the things people did to them are just horrendous, and it's like they've suffered a lot. And it's amazing to actually see them now be able to be celebrated for how beautiful they are. For a lot of them, it's very healing to get up in front of that camera and have pictures taken and model. So I kind of feel like for you, you're at this place in your life where you're stepping forward and you're learning how to embrace your beauty, and you're not letting it intimidate you anymore, and you don't care like how other people think about it anymore. And I feel like this should be celebrated by you doing some type of self-care and healing work, like get some new clothes or cut your hair, like do what you can to prepare, because it does seem like if your twin isn't coming into your life, then there's a soulmate, a very powerful soulmate coming into your life. So get ready, feel beautiful inside and out, celebrate yourself, because there is new love coming into your life. They're saying to embrace your independent thinking and embark on your own personal journey. They're really encouraging your independence and your thinking, because a lot of times if you're so dependent on wanting someone else in your life, Spirit's just going to keep you single for a while. Spirit's going to keep you away from your twin and from your soulmates, because Spirit wants you to really, you know, love yourself and embrace yourself, so that when you get into that relationship, it can be something healing and you have more love to give to that person, and you're not just sucking that person dry. That's how toxic relationships happen. So, you know, really love yourself, embrace your independent thinking, embark on your own personal journey, start thinking about this business or this line of work you want to go into. And a last message to you here from Spirit before I wrap this up is it's time for you to go into nature for inspiration. If you can take a long, if you can take a long walk on the beach, go for it. But they're telling you that you're really energy sensitive. And so look up the spiritual gift, clairsentient. I think this is how you spell it. My handwriting's awful. CLAIRSENTIENT. Google that and check it out. You're energy sensitive and you're clairsentient. So that's something you might need to realize, is that you have that gift, and that's probably why you're really tapping into these emotions with this person so intense. So going out into nature is really going to help you balance and get attuned and relaxed. And I am also clairsentient. I have a lot of the spiritual gifts. It's just one of mine, but I feel like for you, it's one of your main gifts. And I personally have to go out into nature to balance and relax, because I pick up so many vibes from people and from these readings that it's just imperative. And so get out into nature, calm down a little bit, get your self-care going, and soon enough you will have that new love in your life. Or perhaps you and your twin will be running away together or something. Perhaps he's coming to some type of traveling, so maybe you guys will go travel the world together. You never know. All right, let me know if this resonated with you, and thanks again for hitting me up for the 11/11 reading. You get a free follow-up question. So if you have another question, just email me, and for free, I'll send you a picture of the card, and I'll write a quick little blurb about your follow-up question. So if you have any one more question regarding this reading, go for it. And should you ever want an additional reading, just hit me up. Thank you again. Love and light. Peace out.